Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Soul Seekers podcast, where we believe that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure as we share our mission of mentorship is conservation. To learn more about everything we do, check out our show on Carbon TV or go to soulseekersnation.com. Freedom on, everybody, and stay soulful. Do you want to become a better shooter, reduce flinch, protect your ears, and just overall enjoy shooting your gun that much more? Then there's no better way to do that than by adding a suppressor to the end of your barrel. Be sure to check out Huxworks Safety Company, as they are a leader in the suppressor world with their OSS flow-through technology, virtually eliminating blowback and toxic gas that can affect weapon system performance and shooter health. To find out more about Huxworks, go to huxwrx.com. That's huxworks.com, and go get yourself a suppressor for your upcoming hunts. This podcast is also proudly brought to you by onX Hunt. When I first got into hunting, I kept hearing all about public land and different access and how to find different locations to hunt. I was like, well, how are people even identifying all this stuff? Well, sure enough, I came across the number one hunting GPS app, and that is onX Hunt. If you guys want to get better at hunting and go deeper into your scouting, onX Hunt is the number one GPS app for that. Join the millions of hunters who trust onX Hunt to find more game, discover new access, and hunt smarter. It was a game changer for me, and I know it's going to be a game changer for you if you've never used it. If you have used it, you know the power that it holds. Guys, I really hope you enjoy this episode. If you want to know more about onX, go to onxmaps.com/hunt. and check out their app. Be blessed, freedom on, and stay soulful. All right, guys, if you're in the market for optics, I want you to go check out blackdiamondoptics.com. Black Diamond Optics offers world-class sporting and tactical optics, including thermals, all at wholesale pricing, direct to consumer. They are going to be partnering up with us for 2023, and I want to start pointing you over towards their direction. Check out Black Diamond Optics. If you've got any questions about it, shoot us a message. Love to hear from you. Be blessed, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Soul Seekers podcast. Today, I have one that is very near and dear to my heart. We are going to be talking all about the mentorship of new hunters. I'm joined today by Alan Robinson, the general manager of the Lazy Sea Cave Ranch down here in relatively central Texas, and we're going to be talking all about the Future Hunters Summit that the Lazy Sea Cave Ranch is putting on. This is, if you've been following the podcast for quite some time, you understand and know that I truly believe in the power, in the transformational power of hunting and how it impacts lives. And if you care about hunting and you want to see it last for generations to come, then you need to invest in the lives of other people. But at the same time, you need to speak about hunting like it is the coolest thing in the world, because a lot of times we preach to the choir, the ones who are already here. And it's time to expand our reach, and we do that by how we carry ourselves and how we speak about hunting beyond just social media and all this. So without further ado, my man, Alan, great to have you here. Thanks for being a guest today.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm excited to be here too.
Yeah, very excited. Very excited. So, Alan, let's get down to the nitty-gritty of things real quick. You, my man, have been working at the Lazy Sea Cave Ranch for how long?
5.5 years.
What brought you to the Lazy Sea Cave?
I actually owned a ranch management company in Boston County, and we managed ranches all over the state. And the ownership of the CK got a hold of me in 2017, into 2017, and said, hey, we bought this place, and it's our dream place, and we need some help. Can you help us? And they and I got along like fire, and it's kind of history from there. So we saw the potential of the CK, great ownership of the CK, great people, and thought we can do something special here in Hunt, Texas.
Yeah, that's awesome. So have you always been a hunter?
Yeah, I have. But I think that, like, as you know, and other people that'll listen know, I think that I probably took it for granted. Knowing what I know and how I was taught and brought up, didn't seem, from my rural small town of Kansas, it was just what we did. but I think I've always kind of taken it for granted what I was actually taught. The old saying, like, dad and grandpa got smarter as I got older. You've heard that saying. That's kind of how I feel now that I'm in my 40s.
I've never actually heard that saying before. That's that's a new one. So
Yeah.
just to break that down real quick, you're talking about as you got older, you realize how much smarter and wiser that your father and grandpa were. Is that the meaning of that saying?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The
Just
things that they said, the things they told you, the things that they showed you, the reasons why they did what they didn't mean anything back then. But as I have a family too, and as you get older and you try to do the same things with your kids, you realize, oh, well, I get it now.
yeah.
It's the same thing with hunting. Same thing. I grew up bird hunting with my granddad. He trained bird dogs in Kansas, deer hunting with my dad, and I never really thought anything of it. I just thought that's what people did. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized, man, what an opportunity I had
Mm-hmm.
growing up that a lot of people haven't been able to have.
Have you ever Western big game hunted?
No, sir, I never have. It's bucket list stuff. I mean, I'm looking at your elk behind you there. I know that was on video, but no, sir, I have not.
I'll tell you, being a Westie and coming east and south down to Texas, I not grew up because of what I was an adult when I started. I learned this idea of like the mountains and adventure and setting off into the unknown and the wild as this really fulfilling, soul captivating experience. Everyone has opinions in life. Very few have perspectives, and perspectives come from experiences. Then you can speak about it, right?
Yep.
I know it because I lived it, right? Like, we're not just repeating some talking point from someone else that told us something. We've gotten our hands dirty, we've gotten our hands bloody, and walked the path. One of the big things I always preach is hunting has this power to transform lives through primal adventure. Well, this primal adventure is like setting off into the unknown, like manifest destiny from East Coast to the West Coast, and now we've gone coast to coast, and the last place to go now is up, right? We go up into the mountains to get with our God, nature, creation. It's a beautiful thing. And as a Western hunter, I've always wondered about like the Eastern style, like the white-tailed deer style of hunting, and how and if that statement still holds true about going out and sitting in a blind in front of a deer feeder, because people look at that and they speak to it like, oh, that's not really hunting. Do you have any talking on that you can share?
Let me hit that last part first there, okay? Because that last part induces a very visceral feeling for me. First of all hunting is hunting. Okay. Yeah. We have enough enemies. We are all hunters. It does not matter how you hunt or what you hunt with. We are all on the same team.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there that are trying to get rid of what we do and what we love. But back to your first point. So I grew up hunting deer all the time, and I'm a business guy. Okay, that's my career. It wasn't until, and I've always been a hunter, but I wouldn't say that I'm one of these, I wasn't one of these people that were just completely consumed with hunting. It was just something that I did. I loved to do it, but it wasn't my number one hobby all the time until I went to Africa. When I went to Africa with my bow, and I'd always hunted, but, again, I'd kind of taken it for granted, or, it wasn't necessarily a huge passion. It was a passion. I loved to bow hunt. When I went to Africa with my bow with Zach Grobler, 2019, and my former hunting manager, it was exactly like what you experienced when you were 30 years old. That's cradle of man type stuff. It's back to that. You feel this thing. It's hard to describe when you go, but you feel like there's a biological aspect to what I'm doing. This is where people first began living. Right, is here, and they sustain themselves and evolve from these animals that are here, and they're still here, and that is such a cool experience. And once that happened in 2019, then it kind of kicked back those old emotions again, those old feelings, those old, thoughts. And yeah, I don't think I don't feel comfortable unless I have my goal in my hand now.
Mm. It's really fascinating. I love it. Hearing you talk about that, and I interviewed for a job at Dallas Safari Club this last November and got offered a position with them that I really wanted to take, but it just didn't work out. I moved to Weatherford and they wanted me to commute to their offices, and I was like, it's not the lifestyle that I want to be doing, sitting in the car for 3+ hours a day,
Yes, sir.
going either way. With that being said, I learned a lot about this idea of like African hunting, and we're not straying off this path of what we're going to be talking about today because it all comes together. But they say at Dallas Safari Club that the minute you go to Africa, before you even return, you're already planning your next trip.
Absolutely.
It's just like it captivates you. And there's something to be said about how we view the world, right? So, do we view the world with gratitude? Because gratitude makes everything enough. When we have gratitude, it doesn't matter what you have, it makes what you have enough to satiate you and to then you feel fulfilled. So, whether you're hunting Africa or you're hunting out of the back 40 or you're hunting a small little piece of pocket land that you got permission to, or you're hunting the Rocky Mountains of the out west, when you lead with gratitude, it makes everything enough and it makes everything come more alive. I've experienced in my hunting journey this like roller coaster of emotions, right? Like I'm a hiker with a weapon. Oh, I saw an animal. Okay, now I'm seeing consistent animal. Oh, I shot my first animal. Oh, all of a sudden it's like, oh, I've killed an animal. Oh, I can't wait to kill another one. I can't wait to share what I know with other people. All this to the point where maybe I start getting frustrated with myself. Like, oh, why am I not killing animals? Or why am I not getting on them like I want to? Or I missed again. And you start to lose that idea of gratitude.
Mhm.
And when we do that, the the magic of hunting starts to disappear. It's the slipperyest slope. And it's like, oh, I should have. And I always like to talk, we don't should on ourselves. Don't should on other people and don't should on yourself.
Yep.
Because this idea of I should have done this or I should have done that or I should have done better. We live life, we walk through it, we learn. And when we stay in gratitude, it makes everything just phenomenal. What's up, Soul Seekers Nation? Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. As a reward, I have some discount codes for you to use if you are in the market for a brand new hunting pack. Go check out initialascent.com and Initial Ascent packs. They are made in America. Their one-piece carbon frame is an absolute game changer. We run their packs. We love them. And you can save 5% at checkout by using the code SOULSEEKERS. That's all one word. Also, for those of you who are archery hunters and you are tired of shooting at dots on a target, check out deadnutsoutdoors.com for their lifelike 2D archery targets. You can save 20% on all of their products by using the code SOULSEEKERS at checkout. Once again, the code is SOULSEEKERS, all one word. Go check out initialascent.com and Dead Nuts Outdoors. Enjoy the podcast. With that being said, if all hunters, and I can tell that you are a person who doesn't take things for granted, which I appreciate, because that is the heart of your mission, and what we're going to talk about is the Lazy CK Ranch's Future Hunters Summit.
Yes, sir.
In order to get more people involved, you have to love something enough to give it away, right?
Yep.
You gotta love it enough to give it away. And the idea that you are taking, and this is a lot of, and I don't mean to monologue so much right here, but I've learned so much about this idea of like Western versus Eastern hunting, that when you're land managing animals, like why do a lot of these hunts cost so much money and different stuff like that? Because you're putting in so much time and resources to manage the types and quality of animals on your properties, whether it's a high fence or low fence, it doesn't matter, that there is a certain standard in which you need to accept in order to trade for that opportunity to hunt and take that animal.
Yeah, I mean, God put these animals on this planet for us, and it's our job to take care of them. It's our responsibility to take care of them correctly and maintain their habitat from an ecological perspective. All of those things, all of those factors. But you're right. I mean, all of that goes into the cost of that too.
Yeah,
there's a cost to everything.
There is always a cost to everything. If I want to pursue something completely, what am I willing to trade for that? Am I trading money? Am I trading time? Am I trading my relationships with my spouse, my children? Like whatever. Like there's always a cost to everything. And shout out to one of my hunting partners, Iron Will, who we've spent many hours talking about the cost that we pay in order to achieve certain things in our lives. All right, so Alan, when it comes to the Futures Hunters Summit, what's the origin story with that and Lazy CK Ranch?
Sure. So I remembered, an article I read in the Wall Street Journal. I think it was in 2016. And it was talking about how the average age of hunters is basically are aging out of the sport, if you will. And that our industry is in trouble. We're in trouble. And as these hunters age out, it's creating a vacuum behind. But I won't go into all of the details. Honestly, I don't remember all the details. That was sort of the main talking point of the article. Then at the end, it talks about now the one thing, the saving grace that might save us here, might save our industry, is that millennials are picking up crossbows because they want to know where the food comes from. So they're picking up crossbows and they're going out and they're trying to harvest their food. And I don't know, I get confused sometimes on all of the millennials, X, Z, Y, 1982 to 1982 to 97, 98, something like that. I think you would be a millennial. I think right. I mean, I don't think it has such a negative connotation anymore as we get older. I think I missed it by 1 year. Anyway, so that kind of started the process in my mind, I guess, and then the pandemic hits. And sure enough, a couple of months into the pandemic, we took it seriously like everybody did, but we opened back up and just said, okay, well, everything's closed. Canada's closed. Mexico's closed. You're not flying overseas. If you guys can make it to Texas, we'd love to have you. Mm-hmm. Come home with us. And sure enough, we get a call. I get a call in about September of that year, and it was a guy. And he said, I've always wanted to learn how to do that. If I pay for a full hunt, can I come and hunt and you guys teach me how to do it? And it was just a perfect timing, and I turned to my hunting manager and I said, what do you think? And he said, yeah, let's do it. I'll teach him. And I said, great. So I said, sure, absolutely. We've got guns, we've got ammo. Come on. And he did it. And it was so rewarding watching him that weekend, shoot a gun for the first time, shoot an animal for the first time. So, that was light bulb number one. And then fast forward just a few months, the election's over. December, a guy calls and he says, hey, I was on the Trump campaign. We didn't win. I moved to Austin, lost my job, moved to Austin from DC. I've always wanted to learn how to do that. Can you guys teach me? And that was it. I mean, then it was just like, okay, we have to start a program that with one mission in mind, that we're going to try to promote inclusivity into hunting. Our mission is, in the 6 days that you're here, by the time you're leaving, when you're driving out of the gate, you're fully confident that you can book a hunt and go on a hunt on your own anywhere in the country or the world. Okay, so that's what we want. So with that mission in mind, then we built the program backwards from there. Okay, how do we do that? Mm-hmm. What are the things that we need to teach you? What are the things that we took for granted, that we learned, that we do every day, with all of these different pieces that we have. You're only as good as your team. With our guides, with our chef, with our processor, butcher, all of that. What are these things that we take for granted that we could teach people that we do all day, every day? And I built the curriculum based on it.
It's a beautiful thing. Reverse engineering uh, is a great way to go about things to understand. Seven Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. He talks about begin with the end in mind, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I always talk about, so being a school teacher, we talk about, what's your objective? What's your goal? In hunting, we like to say, what's your target? If we are somebody who doesn't have a goal or a target, we might as well be standing in a room with a weapon, a bow, a gun, or whatever, and you're aiming wherever you want and you're shooting and you don't know what you're going to hit because you don't know what your purpose, your destination is going to be. It's very important. So on this podcast, we always talk about, what do you want? What do you want? Right? Because at the end of the day, when you identify what you want, you also then identify how bad you want it.
Mm-hmm.
And then that goes into the, what are you willing to trade for it? Right? Because
Yep.
if I'm hungry and I really want a cheeseburger, if I want that cheeseburger bad enough, you bet your sweet ass that I'm going to be going out and getting that cheeseburger, right? Because I want it.
Yep.
But if I'm just hungry and I don't care so much about this cheeseburger, I want it, but I'm not going to get it. So identifying what you want, and that end in sight is like, okay, that's my target. That's what I'm working towards. And one of the things that I want to speak about specifically about these ideas of future hunter summits is like, people look at the price tags like, ooh, I don't know if I have that much money. I don't know, like, well, how much is your life worth? How much is learning a new skill that will set you free in a lot of aspects of your life worth? What is a price tag on that?
I think the pandemic was the wake up call on that. Honestly, for a lot of people, I think that as the proverbial stuff was hitting the fan, there was a lot of unknowns, and there's obviously we live in a society, in a day and age where there's a lot of information out there, and not all of that's QC data, right? So there's a lot of things going around during the pandemic, and you're having these conversations with your wife and your family, and everybody's doing the same thing, and they're like, well, what's going to happen? They were talking about supply chains being messed up. I mean, you saw the price of groceries during that thing, the hoarding, everybody, all of a sudden, in every American, there's this feeling that I need to protect and serve myself and my family, and so this Future Hunter Summit led perfectly right into all of that. We can get you here, and we can get you confident with the things that we're going to teach you, regardless of what your skill level is, that by the time you're leaving here, you feel a lot more comfortable, going out and facing the world again.
Yes. 100%. Like, did you go to college?
Yeah, I went to Kansas State for my undergrad.
Okay, there you go. Wildcat. I'm also a Wildcat. Central Washington University Wildcat, though. So, college courses are expensive, right? To go to college, you're investing in yourself, and it's like, okay, maybe I have to take a loan out, but I know that at the end of the day, it's worth it. The return will come back. All right, everybody, thank you so much for listening to this episode. As a thank you, I got more discount codes for all of you. If you are in the market for anything in regards to calls, whether it's elk calls, turkey calls, deer or predator calls, you can save 15% on all Rocky Mountain hunting calls by using the code SOULSEEKERS. That's all one word. And if you're in the market for hard side hydration, a better way to hydrate, go check out hardsidehydration.com. Use the code SOULSEEKERS10 to save 10%. And we also have a discount at Graxaw.com. That is, Graxaw is the leader in ultralight game bags and other backcountry gear. Light, fast, and efficient is their motto. Use the code SOULSEEKERS, all one word, to save 10% at checkout. A lot of new hunters or people who aren't necessarily finding success in hunting, I really love to encourage them to go hire an outfitter, go hire a guide, and invest in yourself to, if you want to shorten the learning curve. Because that's the thing. It's like it could take me 10 years to learn how to hunt and then kill an animal, be successful, or
It's just like taking lessons from a golf pro, right?
Right.
You know, you want to be a great golfer. You've been out hacking around with your buddies for 10 years, and all of a sudden you decide, I really want to be a good golfer. What are you going to do?
Yep.
You're going to go invest in a teacher.
Yeah. 100%. So that is this whole idea of outfitting, and getting after it and learning it. I love this idea. I love this concept. So Alan, talk a little bit and tell us about this Future Hunter Summit and what it entails and what do people get out of it and the whole shebang.
Yeah, I want to go back real quick just a second. You talked about the cost. So the barriers to entry into our industry are really high. Mm-hmm. Maybe the highest of any sport, unless you're talking about racing super yachts or something, right? That's your thing. Right. You know? But you know, there's a lot of, again, there's high barriers to entry in terms of costs, equipment. I mean, my gosh, the camo alone, you know, can cost you $2,000, you know, not through Numa. Now Numa, you know, their stuff's lifetime guaranteed. They're one of our sponsors. So this hunt that this summit that we put on, including the hunt and everything that goes into it, is about a $6,000. It's about $6,000. If you were just going to book this 6 days, 5 nights with us, and you were going to come hunt with us, it'd be about $6,000. We have a price tag of $2,500 on it for the students because of our sponsors, because of Hornady, Loophole, Savage, Numa, Apex Coolers. So these guys are kicking in cash and product to get this value, to get the price tag lower, low enough, we hope, that will be more inclusive. Again, part of our mission, more inclusive into getting people here. So anyway, that aside, we take you through 6 days, 5 nights. It's Monday through Saturday. We decided when we started, you know, it is your vacation, it's your learning opportunity, but we had to have probably some hard and fast rules. We're not a kids camp. We've had a lot more adults go through this thing than we have kids. Now we've had some kids too, but because we're not trained kids camp, if you want to send your kiddos, you can, but you got to come with them. We're not
right.
We don't have those accreditations to take care of your kids, right? That's not what we do. But please bring them, but you got to come with them and chaperone them. So 6 days, 5 nights. We start with hunter safety. Even if you have it already, that's where we start. You get it again. So we start with hunter safety on Monday. We do that. Tuesday morning, we wake up. The classes there's 3 weeks of Future Hunter Summit. I'll get into that in a minute, but there's 10 students per class. Half go to the archery range Tuesday morning, half go to the rifle range. And so we get you right into the fire right away, right? So we have these easily tunable bows. We're measuring you. We're picking your draw weight. We're letting you shoot some arrows. A lot of times, most of the time, that's the first time anybody's ever picked up a bow.
Right.
A compound bow. And same thing at the rifle range. We're going to go over all the safety stuff first. We've already taught you hunter safety, but we're going to go over the safety stuff first. And then we're going to let you start sending rounds down range. We have a state-of-the-art gun range that our owner installed. Wonderful guy. It's a 600-yard range with Bluetooth cameras on each target. So when you shoot, you can just look up and see where your shot hit on the big screen, covered pavilion, bleachers, the whole 9 yards. It's really cool. And then we come back in after lunch. We do lunch, and we come back in and we do some don't shoot scenarios in the field. And then we take the test. Everybody passes the test. You just learned all the information. It's okay. It's not a big deal. And then we get right into shot placement. And this is something our guides teach. It's a PowerPoint, quartering away, quartering towards, broadside, perfect shots on these different animals, where their vitals are. We believe, and as a hunter, we have an ethical responsibility to harvest these animals as quickly and as efficiently as possible. We don't want anything to suffer. That's not why we're doing it. We want our meat. We want our trophy pick. We want all of that stuff, and we want the animal to not suffer. So we spend a lot of time on shoot, don't shoot, and shot placement class, and then we get right into firearms handling and cleaning. So got your mats out. Hornady provides these nice mats, and we start taking apart rifles and teaching you how to clean them, because it's very important, as you know. You might have to do it in the field in the rain because you dropped it in the mud. So Wednesday we switch. The other half goes to archery. The other half goes to the rifle range. We eat lunch. While we're eating lunch, the guides go out and they harvest an exotic doe, some species that we have a lot of that we need to control the habitat numbers. A black buck doe, an axis doe, a fallow doe, something like that. And they don't touch it. Just bring it back to the skinning shed. After lunch, everybody goes up, and our guides teach them how to cape, skin, and gut it. They'll do it. They're doing it while everybody's watching. We come back in, we do a gear class where Numa comes in and teaches you all about not just their product, which we're sponsored by them, but all the different fabrics. Like, why do you wear merino wool, and why do you, what's the moisture wicking stuff, and that stuff. I mean, honestly, that stuff just still bothers me sometimes. There's so many different fabrics, and what you wear, why you wear it, what's appropriate, et cetera, et cetera. And then we have dinner, and then Thursday morning we wake up, and that's where the rubber meets the road. You're paired up with another student in your class, and you have a guide with you, and you guys go hunt. One person's going to shoot, one person's going to observe, the guide's going to guide. You harvest. Let's say you are paired up with another student. You're hunting Thursday morning. Your other student is observing. You shoot, say, a black buck doe. You bring it back. You've got to cape, skin, and gut it yourself with the guide standing there. He's going to help you, but you're going to do it. You're going to do it all your own. And then Friday we switch that, and the other student gets to shoot. Thursday afternoon, we also have a 5-stand course in a wall trap field. So after we get all the hunting in and we get our lunch, we go to shoot shotguns, and we teach you shotguns. Friday we switch that. Friday's where it gets really, really neat too, because after your partner has harvested their animal, they've cape, skinned, and gutted themselves. We have a processor come in, and they teach you on the animal that we cape, skin, and gut on Wednesday that we taught you on. They bring it back out of the cooler, and they break the whole thing down, quartering and processing, what the different cuts are. It's pretty neat because they're showing you. This is the ribeye. This is the fillet. This is where this comes from. And you're sitting there thinking, well, I order that in the restaurant all the time, but I had no idea that that's where it came from, right?
Right.
Pretty cool. And then they go into meat prep and care. If you're packing this thing out, this is how you pack it, et cetera, et cetera. And then we bring that animal in, and our chef teaches you how to cook it on Friday night. And then Saturday morning, anybody that hasn't shot out or wants to go shoot archery again, or go back to the rifle range, or whatever they want to do, they can do. We eat lunch. We have end of class surveys. You leave with a certificate. And again, the most important thing, as you're driving out of the gate, your confidence is now through the roof. I can do this. Yeah. You leave here knowing that you are a hunter. You're a hunter now. You're a hunter for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Yeah, you've joined the group. You are fully initiated into what it is. That's phenomenal, and all that for $2,500 is quite a deal.
I think so. I mean, I think so. Again, it's all due to our sponsors.
I mean, how much, you can't go to Mexico and get all inclusive for that good of a deal and get that type of, full on immersive education. And that's one of the cool things, is that you're walking away with this with the meat, right? You get to go enjoy this with your family, your friends, whoever, and that is like this. Oh yeah, here we go.
Our processor, a lot of people say, well, I can't take it home with me. That's okay. Our process, we'll take it to the processor. They'll process it however you want. They'll freeze it and ship it right to your door.
Man, that is
just like one of our clients. I mean, that's how it goes most of the time anyway. So
that is so awesome. So when was the first year that you did this, or is this the inaugural season of Full On Hunter Summit?
No, sir. We started in 2021. We We had 2 weeks, I think, in 2021. No, we had 1 week. I'm sorry. We had 1 week. It was in February. The Lazy CK is on the MLD program. So we decided the MLD program, we're not going to get into all that, but our tags are provided from the state for habitat or for population control. So we have so many tags we have to use every year. Usually by the end of the year, we're left over with a lot of doe tags. We need to control the doe numbers. So this fit perfectly into that. So we did one. It was a very incredible experience. I mean, we had a CFO of a company, an attorney, a couple of different marketing specialists, and a 9-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first one. He was there with his granddad. So anyway, that was so cool. I can still see the pictures of that class in my mind. How awesome that was, and everybody. Our thing is, kind of check your ego at the gate.
Yes.
I don't want to sound like a jerk saying that, but you might know a lot of this stuff. But if you come in with an open mind, you're going to learn something. We've had people come through this that have been hunters for 20 years, have hunted all over the world, that have just decided to check their ego at the gate and say, you know what, I have not gutted my own animal in so long. I've always had a guide do it, or something like that. I want to learn that. I want to learn bows. I want to learn. The quartering and processing. A lot of the other stuff. So we've had accomplished hunters come through the program that still learn a lot.
Yeah, man, that's so awesome. So I want to ask you this, because this is something that people need to hear, especially people who are hunting already, that are experienced, they're veteran, maybe they're even new. How transformational is this process for the teachers, for the ones putting on the course for these new folks?
Well, probably for most people, I'll relate it back to Christmas. What's the greatest part about Christmas? And it's not the stuff you get, it's the stuff you give, right? That's what really warms your heart. That's what makes you feel good, is the faces of the people when you get to give them something. That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's a whole season of enjoyment. It's the same thing here for us. It feels so good. My granddad taught hunter safety for 30 years. He taught me hunter safety when I was 9 years old. And in my mind, while I'm teaching hunter safety, I'm thinking about my grandpa, who taught me all of this stuff. And it's such a fulfilling thing to do, to think that he helped me and I get to help him.
Legacy is such a fascinating thing, right?
Yep.
You can never outgive good, and when you are doing something that brings a memory to your mind, that person never dies. In the Aztec culture, you die 3 deaths, right? The first time, when you realize that you're mortal, you die. The time you actually physically pass, you die, and then the last time your name is ever mentioned, you die. And this is one of the speaking points that I like to talk about to new hunters or anti-hunters or non-hunters, is like, why do you have a skull of a coyote on your desk? Or, why do you have these big old shoulder mounts? It's like, I'm honoring that animal. Yes, people call hunting a sport because we have trophies at the end. The idea that I get to bring home meat, cape, a hide, a skull, stories, like there is a tangible trophy to what we bring home. And at the same time, the legacy that we create for that animal, and we honor it, or for your grandfather or for whoever it is,
Yep.
their legacy lives on.
Yep.
And that is something that it's so easy to forget. It's like, oh man, like, I don't like going to that person's house. There's heads all over the place, and I feel like they're looking at me. He's like, no, let me tell you a story about this one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Yeah. It's a journal.
Yes.
It's the journal of your life.
Yeah. And speaking about journaling, like, talk about something that's so healthy for you as an individual, like for personal growth and satisfaction and a deepening understanding of yourself and the world that you're in. is if more people actually journaled, they're going to be living a more fulfilling life. I always talk about inward reflection leads to outward correction. Well, if this is a journal of our life, like, ancient times of civilizations, we gathered around the fire and we told stories.
What changed? What changed? You told me before we started recording. Sorry to put you on the spot here and turn the podcast around on you. What you said when the first time you went, you said it changed your life.
Yeah.
How did it change your life? Specifically, how did it change your life?
Yeah, man, I got goosebumps with you asking me that. I grew up in a house where I was scared. I was a scared little boy, afraid to take risk, take on challenges, afraid of failure, right? Like, ooh, I better not do that. I might fail. And going through this hunting process and understanding that, at least in Western hunting, that 30% of people are successful. If you're an archery elk hunter, 10% of people are successful. And that was like, well, then why are you doing it, right? Like, why are we going out knowing that the chances of actually taking an animal home for us is extremely low? There's got to be something more to it. So I was raised as a backpacker. And when I was in second grade, I did a 25-mile section of the Pacific Crest Trail in the state of Washington. And in that, we ran into some bears on the trail. And I had this I'm going to say total douche of a dude that was with my father, my uncle, and my brother and I. And he pretended to be a bear outside of our tent. And I'm just a little second grade, 7-year-old boy out in a tent in the wilderness, scared to death. And from that moment, I don't know if I've ever shared this on a podcast before, but in that moment, like, I was fearful. Like, I thought, where was my dad? Where was the security and safety of that a young child needs in order to feel safe in this world? And from that moment, like, that just snowballed. And I hated hiking by myself. I hated going out in the woods by myself. I, became scared of the dark. All these fears crept up. And that is one of the big things, is that how hunting transformed me is I was able to face my fears and overcome them. And as a bear hunter, which is what the first big game animal that I killed, I'm sleeping in my tent being like, oh man, I hope a bear doesn't come into camp. And it's like, wait, no. That's exactly what I want to have happen, because that would make it so much easier.
Yeah.
And as humans, we live a comfort life. We're comfortable, we're safe, we live in this bubble of security. And but if we stay there, growth doesn't happen, right? Iron sharpens iron. Well, you're not going to sharpen yourself by rubbing yourself on a pillow, right? You got to sharpen yourself by putting yourself against something tougher than you, or, And so I put myself out there, and I realized, it's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's the mind. That's your mind at work anyway. I mean, I love that response. To boil that down, what it has done for you, I think, has transformed your life into, one, how you define success. Okay, is literally, as soon as I pull out my Numa pack and I put the first thing in it, that hunt has been a success in my mind. That's how I define success. Regardless of anything else that happens, animal, no animal, mistakes, wet, hot, cold, whatever. As soon as my Numa pack comes out and I put the first thing in it, I think in my mind, this hunt is a success because I get to go hunting.
Yeah.
But the confidence that you talk about, the confidence, that was the ultimate goal in our mind with the Future Hunter Summit, to bring that back. So the confidence that you can see wash over them as after they shoot their first live round, and they realize, just like you said, that wasn't so bad. That didn't kick. It wasn't loud. That was nothing like what I expected. Or, and then you see that confidence rise as they get closer and closer to the target. You see the confidence rise as they start sending arrows from 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, right? You see all that confidence rise. And I hope that carries through for the rest of their lives,
Mm-hmm.
with other things. Because you're right, the confidence that you have now, you can probably talk for hours about how that transformed your parenting style, your all of these things, that the way you attack your work, all of that stuff, all of that confidence was born from hunting.
Yeah, 100%. It transformed every aspect of my life. Every aspect.
That's the coolest thing in the world.
That's
the coolest thing in the world.
Oh man, brother, I tell you, like, we don't know what we don't know. And President John F. Kennedy said the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Yeah.
Right? Humans, mankind, lives two different lives. We live the physical and we live the stories that we tell in our heads. And the stories that we tell ourselves aren't necessarily always the truth. Right? There's this, oh, should I ask the girl out? Oh, does she like me? Does she not like me? Am I gonna, well, what if she says no? We have these stories in our heads until you actually walk through the experience. Mm-hmm. That's where the lessons are learned, knowledge is gained, and then you can apply it to your life to better yourself. And that's why hunting is such an experiential thing, and why I believe that mentorship is conservation, because if you really want hunting to last for generations to come, then you need to give people the visceral experience to feel it, smell it, touch it, see it for themselves, to then from there they get to make a decision. Do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I support it? Do I not support it? Am I going to now support legislation that is going to impact generations that come through the different initiatives that come up, whether in the House or the Senate and all these things? And that is the ripple effect of time spent and invested in another soul. And that's why this is a Soul Seekers podcast.
Nice.
I mean, this is the bread and butter of why I do this. I love this topic, and I love getting to spend time with you and having you share your story. So was there a linchpin moment in your hunting career where it was like, this is something greater than myself that I'm experiencing, and now I get to share with the world?
I think that we have a lot of those as hunters. I don't think that there's one thing I can think of where it was like a kumbaya moment, other than but I can give you a couple of examples where that happened. The first time I ever took my son with me to sit in the bow blind, and I realized right then that I love to hunt. I love to bow hunt. I love to be out here. Again, it was already a success as soon as I started packing. It was a success. However, another thought crossed my mind at the same time, and it was, I really don't want to do this without him. This is what I want to do with him, if he wants to do it with me.
Yes.
So if it's okay, I don't know how much time we have.
We got plenty of time. You're good.
If I can bore you with a quick story here, I'm still on cloud nine about this one, but I've been chasing this. He and I have been chasing this axis for 3 years. This axis has eluded us, and the comedy of errors that have come along with this axis are hilarious. And anybody that's a hunter knows, you better be humble. Because if you're not humble, it's going to eat you alive. So the first time I draw back on this axis, I don't have my arrow knock all the way on my string, and my arrow falls out of my bow onto the ground. Clank, clank, clank. Axis is gone. Right? I'm an experienced bow hunter, and this stuff happens. The next time I go, or not the next time, but the next time he comes in, and I'm on this little bitty place at my brother's place. There's I don't do a lot of blind hunting, but I have to blind hunt here. It's the only way I can hunt here. So the wind has been real bad. It's collapsed my blind a little bit. I get in at 5 o'clock. I don't realize it. I don't draw a few times like I usually do. I'm tired. Coffee hasn't kicked in yet. Wyatt, my son, is sitting there. He comes in perfectly broadside. I go to draw. I literally can't. The blind is collapsed. I cannot go to full draw. My elbow is hitting the back of the blind. So I have to push my bow out the window. By the time I get to full draw, half my bow is out the window. He's gone. He's 2 counties over, right? So we fast forward to this last weekend, not Father's Day weekend, the weekend before. We're hunting Friday night. Whole herd comes in, and there's an older herd bull. This axis that I'm chasing is a mature bull, and he's huge. But there's an older mature bull that, for whatever reason, has kicked this guy's butt and kept him away from the herd. So Wyatt and I decide, hey, we're going to take the herd bull out. There's tons of them. We need the meat. We're going to take the herd bull out. In a couple of weeks, this bigger axis will join up with the herd. He'll be the new herd bull. We'll have our shot. Okay? There's axis everywhere. All right? Well, so Friday night, they come in too late. I can't see my pins in my bow. I don't take the shot. It wouldn't have been ethical to do it. Saturday morning, they all come in, and I go to full draw, and he's standing perfectly broadside. And I won't, thank God my son won't be able to listen to this. He's 9 years old. But he, and yet, your listeners won't be able to see, but he wants to see the shot so bad that he's up and he's down and he's moving around and he's trying to get out the window so he can see Dad shoot. I just went to full draw, right? He's pumped. It's finally going to happen. And there was an axis about 4 yards to our left that we couldn't see. And she chirped one time, whoop, and they were gone. And so I had to let down, and he's crushed, and he goes, what do you think happened? And I didn't have the heart. I said, oh, man, I think they wanted us. No, it wasn't anything you did, But, of course, he's bouncing all over the blind trying to see Dad shoot this thing. So we're driving home that Saturday around lunch, and I said, hey, you've got a birthday party tomorrow. Are you going to be mad if I go back tomorrow morning? And he said, no, Dad, go. Please go. I hope you shoot that because I know – he said, I know when you shoot that one, we'll be able to go hunt the big one. I said, great. I said, great, no problem. So Sunday morning, Wyatt's he's got a birthday party, and I go, and sure enough, 20 minutes, I'm sitting there, and the big by himself walks down this ridge, down this ravine, and walks right into me 18 yards. And I grab my bow, and the whole time I'm thinking, number one, this is awesome. Number two, Wyatt is going to kill me. He's going to kill me. But I got to take him. So I double lunged him. He went 60 yards piled up. And, I'm emotional. I've been doing this a long time. I'm 41. I've been doing this my whole life. And, somebody even asked me, like, were you shaking? Oh, hell yes, I was shaking. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we do it. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah.
For that rush, Anyway, I'm driving home and I'm like, oh man, what am I going to tell Wyatt? And he's seen the pictures already, and he was so cool. When I got home, he was more excited than I was. You got him, Dad. You got him. You got him. He was high-fiving and jumping around and stuff. So anyway, back to your question. That's that moment when you can share that with somebody you love like that. And my daughter's she's 5, and she's, when can I go? When can I go? When can I go? And so that kind of brings it all full circle for you.
Yes, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Love the story. Has your boy gotten a chance to kill an animal yet?
No, not yet. He wants to. He's been shooting for a while. He's got a bow. He shoots with me all the time. I keep asking him, when do you think you're ready? He's not pulling enough pounds yet, but with a gun, he's ready to go. But I'm not rushing him on that. Just when you think you're ready. He just loves going with me. Honestly,
yeah.
It hasn't really. I don't think he hasn't really been eaten up alive yet with the bug to go do that himself. He just loves going. He loves blood tracking with the dog. It's hilarious, and he's really good at it. He's he's a lot better at spotting blood than I am. He wants me to shoot something so he can get out there with our bird dog and go find it. He loves that part.
Yeah. I will tell you this. I had an experience this last year where my oldest son was like, I want to shoot a deer. And I had one of my buddies I met here in Texas. Um, he was able to get a hold of a landowner and allow us to go take a doe. And the point of the story, what I'm sharing right here, is the hunt was awesome. The experience was incredible. But the most powerful thing that I, as the father, experienced was when we sat down at the table and we ate the deer that my son killed.
Yep.
Because I've been this man, this provider, like, hey, look at what I did for the family. Here I eat this food that I come bring home. And here I am sitting across the table from my son. And I'm just like, you did this for us.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like,
That's
blew me away.
That's so awesome.
Blew me away. Alan, I am absolutely humbled to be in community with you, brother. I really appreciate you coming on this podcast. Like, truly, you are exactly as my youngest son is coming in here to the office real quick. Hey, Kaser, can you give me just a couple minutes? Can you go out, please? Okay, thanks, buddy. He's sweet. My 3-year-old, he's a savage. But what I wanted to say right there before the kiddo came in is your heart is the heart that we need as men, as leaders, as fathers, as mentors in this world. In the Bible, it says there's no greater love than this, than a man lays down his life for another. And what that means is not just like taking a bullet for somebody. It's like, oh, jumping in front, like, oh, I'm willing. It's sacrificing our desires, our dreams for the intention and purpose to grow somebody else's.
Mm-hmm.
Right? With that being said, we also need to make sure that we take care of ourselves. Moms, all the moms listening to this podcast, you know firsthand that if you are not filling up your own cup, your cup is empty to pour into others.
Yep.
Right? So we need to take care and nurture and nourish our own souls, and at the same time understand that God calls us to love him and love man. And the way that we love is through time and intention. And when you take what you love and you share it with somebody else, then you are living out your calling in humanity to love others. And that is the beauty of it all, like full circle, why I do this and why we're here talking about this and talking about the Lazy CK Ranch and the Future Hunter Summits. And I mean, hearing you talk about this, I'm already being like, how can I support? How can I get involved? Last night I just took he's soon to be a hunter. My neighbor, I'm like, how do I get him at this ranch? How can I, dial this in and get his hunt and film it and show the world and like, look how powerful this is. Everybody shout it from a mountaintop. You got to try this. It's the best. So,
I love your enthusiasm on it. Yeah. By the way, we have a women's week. The thing evolved into 3 weeks now that we have. Look, we're a commercial hunting operation. That's what we do year round. But this is the only really other thing that we do. And we have 3 weeks of the Future Hunter Summit, the open week, we call it. Anybody can come, anybody that wants to come. We have a women's week to try to provide an environment for the ladies to come in and learn in that atmosphere, in that setting. And then we have an industry week for people that are already in the, it would surprise you. It surprised me how many people, I guess it shouldn't have, but how many people that are help running these huge companies that don't have the same experience with hunting, their marketing or their lawyers or their, accountants or whatever, those companies are sending people here. And I would hope that they're seeing the return on their investment when those people come back to their regular work, working at one of these huge companies. with that kind of experience. So we have an industry week, an open week, and a women's week. We have 1 week left this year. It's in July. I think we have two spots left, or 2 or 3 spots left. And then we have 3 weeks next year. So.
Awesome. I want to talk about that for a second because the industry week, this is what a lot of people don't understand this. So in the state of Washington, for the Department of Fish and Wildlife, the managing agency within that, you don't even have to take hunter safety to be working in the fish and game department. Like, that is something. Arizona, I was giving a seminar down at the Western Hunting Expo in Salt Lake City, and I had a fish and game officer from Arizona show up that they never hunted, but they work for Arizona. A lot of people in the marketing space, like they could be, marketing for optics, backpacks, like in the hunting world, doesn't mean they're a hunter because they have a college degree that says, hey, I know how to market. We'll target you. And then, and as we know, trying to sell something that you don't believe in, or, attempting to push a product and experience or whatever that you haven't experienced yourself or don't believe in or don't support or don't have an understanding of it, makes it challenging. So the best thing that we can do is to open it up for everyone and not assume, right?
Yeah, and look, this isn't the only program out there. We're not, we're there. There are other organizations. There's other things. I encourage anybody. Obviously, we'd love to have you at the Future Hunter Summit at the Lazy CK, but the FTW has an awesome shooting school. The WOMA organization for Women Outdoor Media Association has the She Never Quit event. Anything. They do a lot of firearms training there. Their instructors are incredible, Olympians. Anything like that, anything to get you started, to get you going, whether it's here or anywhere else. I highly encourage people to do it. Get out there and get going.
That's awesome. So you kind of hit on the dates, but when do these classes go? When do you guys run these courses?
Oh, usually, next year all 3 of them will be in the summertime.
Okay.
And so then we'll be hunting exotic does at that point. On the ranch, we have huge herds of, whatever we need to help control the population of. So this year, the campers will shoot black buck does. I mean, we have so many of them that we can't take the risk of jeopardizing our habitat. So we need to get some numbers down. We can live sell those animals to other places, or we can have hunters come in and harvest those animals, take the meat home, enjoy it, and become a hunter at the same time. So that's what we're going to do this summer. Next summer, I don't know. We'll have to see how it'll be. Something like that, though. It'll be axis does, Psycha does, fallow does, black buck does, something like that.
Oh, so awesome.
We have a June next year, 1 in June, and then 2 in July. I think Women's Week and Industry Week are in July, and then Open Week is in June, I believe, next year. All this stuff's on our website, lazyckranch.com. And again, I think we have 2 spots left for the one in July this year. If anybody's listening wants to come this year, we have 2 spots open. That's for anybody. It was our industry week, but anybody can come to that one too.
I love it. Alan, thank you so much for sharing your time, your passion, your joy with us. And I really appreciate it. We'll make sure to have in the show notes of this episode the website and the place to go to in order to check out the Lazy CK Ranch and all that's happening with the Future Hunter Summit. And on top of that, in case anyone just wants to book a hunt with you guys, right?
Yeah,
it doesn't just have to be this new Hunter Summit that, you guys, what type of animals do you guys have on your ranch?
Oh man, I think we have over 25 different species of exotic animal from all over the world, Africa and Asia and all over South America, everywhere. And then native and genetic white-tailed deer. That season starts in October. We hunt year-round. We're 7,000 acres. We hunt year-round except for August. We all take August off. It's too hot. We leave. I usually go to Africa with my bow, and we all get away from the place for a while. But start back up in September with exotics, and then October rolls into whitetail season. Our whitetail season sold out for many, many, many years.
Really?
Yeah, it's still the bread and butter of the whole industry in Texas. People come from all over to hunt big whitetail.
Fascinating.
Yeah, but we hunt year round. Like we have access hunters coming in this weekend. Access are rutting right now. You can hear them screaming in the mornings when I come to work. It's so awesome.
And
So
that's pretty cool that which I learned since moving to Texas is that axis ruts in the summer. And
yep,
so you're really getting to experience what these animals are like during the rut and in what we would call off season, right?
yeah,
Like it's on season here, but it's off season for your typical North American big game.
yep. And that's been a challenge trying to people start gearing up for hunting season. Well, hunting season for us is year round. There's always something to hunt. You want to come hunt nilgai and aoudad, January, February, perfect time. March, April, good time for those. You want to hunt fallow and cyca deer, September, elk, red stag, September, whitetail, October, November, December. So axis, black buck, all your antelopes, your gazelles, all of that stuff, all summer long. Perfect time to hunt those.
Man, so awesome. So awesome. Well, I'm jacked right now. Thanks for motivating me on this beautiful Tuesday morning because I'm like, all right, baby, let's go leave our mark on society. Let's make a difference in this world. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And listeners, go check out the Lazy CK Ranch if you've ever thought about hunting Texas or have ever thought about, sharing an experience with a new hunter, but you're not willing to maybe dedicate your Western big game tag hunting opportunity, or you have some free time in the summer, go check out the Future Hunter Summit. Go see what it's all about. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode. Remember that hunting has the power to transform lives through primal adventure, and that you can never outgive good, everybody. If you want hunting to last for generations to come, then you need to invest in the lives of others, as mentorship is conservation. I'm Johnny Mack. For Alan here at the Lazy CK Ranch, be blessed, everybody. Freedom on, and stay soulful. If you enjoyed today's podcast and want to support the show, you can always like, share, subscribe, and leave a rating as it helps us share our mission of mentorship is conservation. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of Soul Seekers Nation as we transform lives through primal adventure. If you want to get more connected with the podcast, check out the Soul Seekers Nation Facebook group, as I look forward to connecting with you on the next episode. So stay tuned and stay soulful.